What is up, YouTube pimps? Dudes, let's talk about my poll, man. I did this poll. You guys probably remember it. Let's put it right up here on the screen for a minute. Asking y'all what you think is coming down the pipe when it comes to shit hit the fan. And, I will apologize to some of you guys because I didn't put collapse of the US dollar and resulting stagflation as an option, but YouTube only gave me so many options, so I had to leave that one out. And the reason I chose to leave that one out is because I really think it's a no-brainer at this point in time that is definitely coming down the pipe. There is no way for this country to avoid it. It is the end of the U.S. empire, pimps. That is literally what we are going to witness. And it's happening right now. It's beginning right now, and this country is in its death throes. It is throwing a temper tantrum. The dollar is being looted. That's what's happening with all this money getting sent over to Ukraine and all this crazy ass spending, man. They are just looting the dollar for everything they can get before it goes completely down the shitter. Let's talk about this poll, though, pimps. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's make it a conversation. I'd love to have a lot of comments down below in this video about all of this kind of stuff. And let's see where everyone's at and what y'all are thinking about it. Like, some of you guys have some really smart shit to say sometimes. So let's hit it up in the comment section, and I'll be down there as well. I do want to let you guys know really quick that I think I had COVID for a second time, and I'm still kind of getting over it, so hopefully I can cut out any hacking or weird shit. But if I sound weird, that's probably what that's all about. Let's start out with the collapse of the U.S. dollar and stagflation, because even though it wasn't on the poll, dudes, this is unavoidable. It's going to go down that way. That's what's going to happen. We haven't had sound money in this country for a really, really, really long time, dudes. And if you think about inflation, it's been kind of kept under control for a lot of the time. It hasn't for the last few years, really. I mean, they've done their best to kind of minimize the damage. And we're going to talk about that in a second, too. But if you just think about inflation in general, it's theft. They've stole the value of the dollar that you earned 10 years ago. You can't just take your money and put it in a shoebox under your bed. They're going to devalue that dollar. And by the time you spend it 10 years later, it's going to be worth, 2/3 what it was worth when you earned it. So if you're an older person and you worked for freaking $2 an hour back in the day, you should be pissed as hell, man. You should be mad as shit about what the people that have controlled the U.S. dollar, how they've taken advantage of it for their own benefit and screwed you in the process. Because a lot of people also don't know that when they print all this money, a lot of times these days they just, enter some numbers in a computer. When they do this, they loan it out, and that money gets loaned to banks, which are owned by we know who. And these people take out loans to further their own family businesses and that kind of stuff. And they take them out at a rate that has not yet been impacted by the creation of those additional dollars. So they're literally playing that game. They're taking advantage of the system. You can't really blame them for that. But when it comes to our government and the Federal Reserve Bank allowing this shit to occur, obviously it's completely corrupt and totally unfair. And they don't give a shit about you. Whatever they can do to freaking help their homeboys get ahead, that's what they're going to do. Shit on you. How dare you be an American citizen? Now, if we just look at the last few years, everything that's happened with our inflation, guys, if you go back and look at Japan in the 70s, they did something similar. And I want to say it took them 17 years to get their inflation under control. Now, they're a much smaller country, but boy, have we spent a lot of money. And now we're at a point where the U.S. debt is increasing by $1 trillion every 100 days. Holy shit, dudes. It's coming. It's coming. You're going to see that reduced to about a month, $1 trillion a month. We're going to be racking it up, and it's going to continue to decrease that time span. There's going to be no way to stop that inflation, pimps, and it is going to begin to run away. And what stagflation is a stagnating economy and massive inflation at the same time. Now, I think what they're trying to do is they're kind of trying to prop up the economy to a degree. They're taking us into wartime economy status with everything we're sending to Ukraine, right? We're trying to ramp up production of all kinds of different military weapons of war and ammunition. And if they can successfully do that, it will have it'll have an impact on the economy in a way. It's hard to know how much that's going to be. But those of you that were smart enough to put that comment down below, like, oh, collapse the US dollar stagflation, y'all are definitely paying attention. That's one we can't avoid. Let's talk about the other ones, though. Dudes, number one on the list here was Civil War 2.0. I've been saying it in some other videos. I really think that everyone can feel this coming, and if the results of the poll are any indicator, I think I was right. So if a second civil war kicks off, how is this actually going to go down? Dudes, comments down below. Like, let's hear your 2 cents on it. What do you think? What I think is going to happen, and I mean, obviously, this could go a number of different ways. Excuse me. But how I think it's going to go down is I think we are actually going to see states begin to secede, and that the country is going to be torn apart. It is going to break into pieces. Probably a great number of the ones that secede will join together and form USA 2.0, basically. And the rest won't. And it's going to be hard to say what exactly is going to occur there. Like, how bad is it going to get? If we think about the first Civil War, massive cost of American lives there. Obviously, it's us fighting ourselves, so lots of Americans are going to die. But it was a big, big, big number. And those dudes were shooting each other with black powder muskets, man. Firearms technology is in a completely different spot today. It's totally insane. It's completely different. And if we get to a point where Americans are actually killing Americans, it is going to be bad. Lots of people are going to die, dudes. And then I want you to think about the impact that war could have on infrastructure, and it's just going to have an impact on everyone's ability to feed their families. Everybody. It's going to change everything. Hopefully it won't last long, but who knows? What do you guys think as far as time frames? I'm kind of always of the mind that it's better to prepare for a longer period of time than it is to be prepared for a shorter period of time. Like, no duh, efficient in the field. Everybody knows that. But sometimes this shit needs to be said out loud, guys. And I know you guys agree with me on that, but there's someone out there that's going to hear that and be like, huh, I never thought of it that way. And I got to say, I agree with the huge majority of you guys. Civil War is right there, man. It's coming in hot, Well, after that one, it was EMP was the next option. And obviously EMP would be extremely bad. And I'm thinking that kind of a lot of you are there in the EMP spot because you're like, these Chinese freaking weather balloons that are getting flown over our damn country, and nobody in the government does shit about it until they've taken all the photos they want to take and sent back to China, Like, oh, come on, man. It's like, wow, here's what I want all you guys to do for a second. Because a lot of people out there, they think to themselves, oh, the people in charge are just completely incompetent. For a second, I want you to take that idea and to put it out of your mind. And to think instead that they're not incompetent, but they know exactly what they're doing. So play this little game with me. If they're not incompetent and they know exactly what they're doing, How do you feel about things now? Think about it. Think about everything that has been done, everything that is being done, and all the shit they have in the works. And I want you to think about it like they know exactly what they are doing. And why are they doing it? What are they trying to accomplish? Don't let that shit keep you up at night, though, guys. I'm telling you, man. You got to live your life and enjoy it, even though you know shit hit the fan's coming. You cannot let this thing completely consume you, guys. You got to get out there. You got to go, go out to dinner with your family and have the in-laws over and suffer through it. I don't have to suffer through it. I actually really, really love my in-laws. They're awesome. I picked the right wife, man. What can I say? But you guys got to keep living. Don't let this shit completely consume your life in every way. Back to EMP, because it is a real possibility, dudes. Especially with these, like I said, the damn balloons flying overhead that no one wants to do shit about. These things can be set up to carry a cargo that's easily heavier than an EMP, and it could be detonated, high enough to do some very, very serious damage. So it's definitely a concern. I can see where you all are at with that. Third place, Marburg, or some other equally gain-of-function pimped virus that is going to come through and wipe a bunch of people out. I'm going to try to be a little careful about how I deliver this message because I think YouTube is fairly sensitive regarding this content. But I think that anyone that's really paid attention and has listened to news sources that are worth a shit at all understands that the big recent virus we had here that popped up a few years ago was actually taught gain of function. It was funded by our own government. They knew about it. They knew about it in advance of the breakout. And they've been taking advantage, basically, of the rules that allow countries to play with infectious viruses. They're taking advantage of this for a long period of time and have been using part of it as a kind of a bioweapons research. That if you really pay attention, man, you're probably right there with me. Okay? And it pisses me off. I'll tell you guys what, like I just mentioned in this video, I just had this shit the second time. And the first time I got it, I felt like it was attacking my old injuries. Places where I was hurt and had been hurt in the past and stuff like that. Those areas really hurt me, man. Just old shit from the military or from lifting or whatever. And this has been no different this second go around. Probably not quite as bad as the first one. But, why aren't people pissed about this? Why aren't we pissed off? Why aren't we going to freaking... Oof, I don't want to say stuff that's going to get me in a whole bunch of trouble here. I think you guys know where I'm coming at with this. But why aren't we, making more noise about how mad we all are about this? Every single one of us at this point probably knows someone that died because of that shit. My Uncle Dwayne died. And you know what? He was an awesome dude. He was a good man, and he caught it and had some health issues already, and it killed him. And on the flip side, it's like everyone that's gone out and got the, you know what I mean? A lot of those people are having health problems too now. I'm not trying to get political about it, pimps, because it's not political. It's not. The politics of it don't really matter. There's facts. There's existing facts. And the bottom line facts, based on the money and Eco Health Alliance and all that kind of shit, is that we literally paid taxpayer dollars to teach gain of function. And the shit escaped, from a freaking lab. If you're listening to the right people, it certainly did not evolve naturally. And then on top of it, everyone gets told, and all the government funding that went into telling people to get the wow, how much money did the government spend on advertising, dudes? It blows my freaking mind. I'm serious. Like, anytime, I don't rock a normal TV and get on that kind of shit, but if I was waiting in a waiting room somewhere or there's a TV playing, it's like every single time commercials came on, one of them was about go get the, you know what I'm saying? Every single time. Just insane. And it's like, look at the profit margins that these companies made from this shit. And if you look at the documents, the ones they filed with the FDA to get this shit approved, it's like, wow, the FDA just was like, fuck it, we're not doing our job. We're golden. I'm going to be working for that company in a year anyways if I get this thing approved. So let me just go ahead and sign on the dotted line. So I can understand why a lot of you would choose option number 3. Marburg or some equally pimped gain-of-function virus. And dudes, there is scary shit out there. And these crazy-ass people are manipulating these things. This is insanity. This is insane. It's like the craziest thing I think I've ever freaking heard of, man. Holy shit. So the last 2 items on the list, let's talk about those real quick. And then I'm going to tell you guys where I think things are at, personally. So we also had AI takeover, kind of hard to get on board with that, with everything else that's going on right now. I do think that could be a real possibility at some point in time in the future, but I don't really know that we'll ever make it there. So I have to tend to agree with most of you guys that didn't choose that as your number 1. But who knows? I will tell you that I have stayed up on what's going on with the AI stuff, and it is getting really insane really, really fast. It is getting so much smarter and so much better at doing stuff like rapidly that it's really creepy. So for those of you that selected that one, you're probably staying up on the AI technology and you understand how insane it's getting very, very quickly. Like, it is, in my opinion, it is the most, when we look at technology, it is advancing faster than anything else, and it is doing so by leaps and bounds. Scary shit. The last option was full nuke war. And I gotta be honest, I kind of figured that more of you guys would have picked that option. Why not? Comments down below. Because I'll tell you guys now where I'm at. I don't think I really need to get into that whole conversation. We know where things are with Russia and China and all that kind of stuff, especially with Russia. The U.S. and NATO continually keep stepping over the line. When you're not trying to start World War III, if a superpower is like, don't give Ukraine F-16s because we're going to consider that as, like, that you gave them a nuclear capable option. Well, guess what? You don't give them F-16s. If they say don't give them depleted uranium rounds because that's stepping over the line for us, you don't do it. Matter of fact, going back years and years and years ago, if Russia tells you they don't want NATO right on their doorstep, you know what you do? You don't tell Ukraine it can join NATO or make it sound like an option. You don't do these things, but we have been steadily pushing and working towards starting World War III. Why? Why? We have to ask ourselves that. Is it because the powers that be know that we're facing a collapse of the dollar? That this empire is going to tank and they're going to try to hold on to it for as long as possible. And to do that, they're going to need constant war to try to help prop up the economy. Is that why they're doing it? Are they doing it because they know a second civil war is coming? And some of you guys are going to be like, how was that related? How is the second Civil War related to full thermonuclear freaking warfare? Well, I'm going to tell you guys, because here's where I am. My own personal perspective is that everything is coming to a head. We are going to see the collapse of the US dollar easily in our lifetimes, guys. It's going to be coming in hot here. And there's only so much they can do to postpone it. So that's coming. We're already on the verge of a second civil war, as most of you agree right now. Well, what do you think the collapse of the dollar is going to help, like, happen? You know, if things are already bad, we're already on the verge of a second civil war, and all of a sudden the dollar starts tanking on top of it, and people can't even, you know, buy their kids freaking Lunchables anymore and shit at Walmart. It's like people are going to start losing their shit. So if you take a populace that's already, like, you know, somewhat up in arms and upset about how things are going, and you take away their freaking hot dogs and potato chips and shit for freaking Super Bowl Sunday, it's like, you know, what's going to happen then? You're just more likely to see that civil war occur earlier. So my own personal perspective is that collapse of the dollar is probably going to help kick off a civil war, because now it makes more sense that certain states would secede from the union and coin their own currency, start their own country, coin their own currency, and try to avoid that entire massive financial disaster that's coming. So boom, we got a civil war now. And I personally feel like the feds, you know, the federal government has taken us to the verge of thermonuclear war for a reason. And that's because, pimps, government will do whatever it has to do to survive, including wipe out most of us. And if it feels that a civil war is kicked off, or it feels like it's losing, it might as well hit the button. Because it's just going to go down in some bunker somewhere, and it's going to wait it out and survive it. But it's going to get rid of the problem in the meantime. So yeah, I as a result of that kind of my thought process regarding it, I definitely see collapse of the dollar. I definitely see Civil War 2.0. I definitely see EMP, because in any full nuclear strike, EMPs come first. Okay. I also think that them tinkering with all these crazy ass viruses is another, like, it's another cat they got in the bag that they could pull out and let loose to try to keep us in check, to try and scare the shit out of us again, to get us all to freaking wear those dumbass masks that don't work for shit, and to get us to put more stuff on our bodies, okay, that's going to do whatever they really want it to do at the end. So I think that's an option as well. And then the AI tech's crazy. It's like, it's kind of nuts, dudes, but the poll's like, wow, you know, we're staring some of this shit in the face. So get ready, guys. I guess the bottom line to this video was to kind of chat over this stuff with you, tell you all where I think we're at, and let you know, man, get ready. Get your shit squared away. If there's anything you felt like you should have been doing that you haven't done here in the past month, you know, put it on your whiteboard. Write it on your to-do list. Get out there and start taking care of that shit, because you never know when it's all going to go down. And dudes, it appears like it could completely spiral out of control at any moment now. At any moment. You have states, and this has actually been going on for a long time. States have been telling the feds to go screw themselves. But now it's kind of taking on a different shape. You now literally have federal agencies like the Border Patrol that were ordered to remove Texas National Guard troops from a location along the border, and they refused to do it. But are they going to refuse forever? Are we going to see somebody else appointed to a position that will attempt to actually enforce that? Who knows where it's going to go, guys? Who knows? So get your shit squared away. All right, pimps. Hope you guys liked the video. I hope it wasn't too long, since we're just kind of like shooting the shit and talking about what might happen. But I'd love to see some comments down below. For reals, guys, Let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it down there. What does everyone think? Where are you guys all at with it? What do you think about my perspective? So hit it up, okay? I'll be down there. Like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon link in the description if you're interested in like longer videos. I know I've got some dudes every once in a while that wish I did longer stuff. I think Georgia Prepper, I think you're one of the guys that's constantly asking me to do longer videos. I have a lot more content on my Patreon page for those of you that are interested in that. But I do want to let you guys know that I am kind of test running podcast idea. I did a 30-minute video, just over 30 minutes, and put it on my Patreon actually to get some feedback from my patrons. And I think I'm going to do another longer video that's probably going to be like in the 2-hour range. It's just hard to find the time to do it with everything else that's going on and all my other responsibilities. But it is on my list. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see if I like it. I do it. I like it. Then it could very well end up going public on the channel. And I also want to let you guys know I'm going to start including some different type of content on here, such as like gear reviews for shit hit the fan gear, like good tough stuff. I think I'm going to call it shit hit the fan gear reviews. Okay. And so you'll see that popping up pretty soon as well. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.